Are you trying to decide between a Toro Greensmaster or a Tru Cut for your golf course lawn? If so, you clicked on the right video. Coming up, I discuss the pros and cons of each mower to help you decide which one's right for you. Let's get into it. Hello YouTube. Welcome to Project Golf Course Lawn Season 5. So you're trying to decide between these two amazing machines, the Greensmaster or the Tru Cut. Which one is right for you? Well, to truly get into this conversation and to really make it fair, I'm going to try and do this in an organized way and really highlight the areas, the strengths and weaknesses of both mowers. To do that, we're going to talk about the design philosophy between both machines. Then I'll take a short discussion into the control system. I'll do a mowing demo to show you guys how the mowers cut. You guys can see how they stripe and decide which one suits your eye better. And then I'll take you guys around the lawn and show you some limitations, particularly for the Greensmaster. And then finally, we'll close out with costs and some other things you should think about. Okay? So, design philosophy. The thing about both these mowers, they're both commercial grade reel mowers. They're both excellent machines, both very well built. Both will last a really long time if cared for properly. With the Tru Cut, you have to remember the Tru Cut is a commercial grade mower that is designed and targeted for residential lawns. So it's designed to be used by landscapers that want, that have some customers that really want that really manicured look, and it's designed for residential use. So the way it's propelled, the way the track system is set up, all of that is really targeted for residential lawns and some of the obstacles and considerations that go with residential lawns. When it comes to the Greensmaster, this again, also a commercial piece of equipment, it's targeted at golf courses. So because of that, some of the considerations that you make with this mower are, and some of the compromises you make with this mower when using it for residential use, you really would be making with the Tru Cut. So in many ways, even though we're comparing these mowers, we're really comparing apples and oranges because this one is really designed for this type of turf, like this is its design element, and this really is designed for golf courses, those highly manicured areas, places like putting greens, tee boxes, the approaches, the fringe areas around greens, anywhere where you want an uncompromising level of cut, that is where this is designed for. So realize that even though we're comparing these two mowers, the design philosophy behind them is very different. So what I rate as a con on one mower, a pro on another mower, really you have to kind of take that with a grain of salt based on what the machine was actually designed to do. So just keep that in mind. So let's dig into the controls. We'll start with the Tru Cut. As far as how quick and easy it is to get mowing, it's super fast. There's not a whole lot you have to do. Literally flip the power switch on, set the choke, and start it right up, and away you go. Right, so it's super fast, really easy. I mean, I'll show you guys. So we got the power on, choke set, and pull. And that quickly, you're ready to mow. Right, so it's again designed for people that are professional landscapers that are trying to move this mower from property to property. So it's really easy to get out of the truck, off the trailer, get onto the turf, and start mowing. The Greensmaster, it's more of an event. Let's just put it that way. Again, remember, this is designed to be sitting in a workshop or an area where all the golf course equipment is maintained, and that stuff is typically not right next to the golf course. Like it might be several hundreds of meters, sometimes even further than that, away from the different mowing areas. So with the Greensmaster, to set this up for mowing, with the Tru Cut you saw what was involved. With the Greensmaster, is a little bit more involved. So first we get the mower up on its kickstand, like that. And next, we have to remove the transport wheels. These wheels that you see on the side are really only for transporting the mower. You don't mow with these on. So there's one off, and then I'll pull the second one off. So both of these are now off. So now that mower, after dropping it down to the turf, is ready for mowing, okay? So there's a little bit more involved in getting this guy set up for that. From a standpoint of changing height of cut, with the Tru Cut, it's super easy. Literally, there's a lever here that's attached to like a hinge that controls the height of the roller. And so if I want to go higher, pull back, and just like that, I've changed the height of cut on the Tru Cut. Super easy. Takes literally seconds. With the Greensmaster, again, targeted at golf courses, they're not changing the heights of cut a lot of times throughout a mowing session. They may have it set up for greens, and they'll set up in the workshop prior to going out to the greens, so it's a little bit more of an involved process. To change the height of cut accurately on one of these mowers, you're going to need a tool like this, not necessarily this one, but something along these lines. This one is put out by AccuGauge, and what this is going to do is going to allow you to go in and put this little, this tang onto the bed knife and measure across the bed knife and front roller and rear roller the cutting height. So setting the cutting height on this mower is more of an involved process. It's not difficult to do, but it is more involved. So you would decide if you're going to go up in height. It's going to take you, 10 minutes or so maybe to set that up and verify that everything is all set and good. So from that standpoint, there is more involved in just even changing the height of cut on a greens mower than there is on a Tru Cut. Again, different design philosophy. So let me set this down out of the way for you guys. As far as starting the Greensmaster up, kind of like what I showed you guys with the Tru Cut, not super involved. Literally, you power on, set the choke, and away you go. Up and running, right? So from that standpoint, from a standpoint of starting and using the mowers, that's very similar. Once you actually get them set up for mowing, you transport them to the area, they're easy from that standpoint. As far as controls, and again, I'm not to go into too much detail, because if you guys really want a deep dive into the Tru Cut or a deep dive into the Greensmaster, I'm going to have cards up here that's going to link to 2 videos where I did a detailed review on the Tru Cut mower that you guys can look at, and also a detailed review on the Greensmaster. So if you want like a deep dive into all the little aspects of them, what makes them different, and what things you should consider, definitely check that out. But from a standpoint now of just comparing these two, probably the biggest difference you're going to see between these two mowers is how they cut. The Tru Cut is propelled by two tractor tires, which is really good for dealing with uneven surfaces, dealing with inclines and whatnot. The Greensmaster is propelled by a roller drum. So again, if you want to see this in detail, dig into my video that's going to be in the card here, but there's a drum on the back of it that propels the mower. So it's more suited towards level surfaces. That in that aspect, that's what it's going to do. It's going to do a lot better. So let's get into the cutting demo. I know that's what you guys really want to see. You want to see the difference between these guys, how they cut, and let's just show you guys that. So first, I'm going to do it with the Tru Cut. I'm going to make a pass down and back, and you guys can see how that goes. And then I'll do the same thing with the Greensmaster. And one thing to pay attention to is, one, look at the cut, and also pay attention to the sound, because there's a very big difference in the sound level of these two mowers as far as just how much noise they make. So let's get started with the Tru Cut. So we're on, choke set. So there's the Tru Cut. Let me set the mower over the stripes it made so you guys can see that. This is the Tru Cut. Now for the Greensmaster. And away we go. This engages the reel. So you guys tell me, YouTube, we got the Greensmaster, sorry, the Tru Cut here, and over here we have the Greensmaster. So for a mowing standpoint, for me, it's pretty clear which one stripes better. The Greensmaster definitely offers a more even cut and more stripe. So depending on what's more important to you, that's the advantage there. So as far as cutting, in my mind, there's really not that much of a comparison between the quality of cut you'll get with this mower versus the Tru Cut. So now some of the limitations. One thing you guys will notice is that when I pull those drive wheels off, there's two axles that stuck out, one on each side, that the drive wheels, that the transport wheels connect to. That's a serious limitation in the standpoint of if you're trying to mow near obstacles. So if you see out where I have like the rocks or some other areas that I'm gonna take you guys and show you guys in a second, that presents a problem as far as how close you can get to that. Now, there are ways around that. You can, one, pull out another mower if you want and do the edging work, or use a string trimmer, or even set some borders around those obstacles that's gonna allow you to get up close and so maintain that height of cut consistently. But just realize that, again, this is a greens mower, so because of that, there typically aren't fences and rocks and other obstacles like that on golf courses. So again, we're taking this mower and we're putting it on a residential lawn. There's going to be some compromises. So now let me take you guys around and I'll show you some of the areas where the Tru Cut really shines as far as mowing for residential lawns, and where there's some more limitations on the Greensmaster. Let's go. Okay, YouTube. So let me take you to the rocks and show you one of the key areas that highlights one of the limitations of the Greensmaster on residential lawns. So if I take you guys to the rocks and you see the color of the turf here and then along the rocks, you see that trim right there where the grass is darker, where I wasn't able to mow. I purposely left it like that so you guys could see the difference in color. So my options are really get the Tru Cut out and make a pass there, or get a string trimmer and knock that down. Or, I mean, ideally, if you really only had one more, which you could do, which it's a great suggestion that Richard made to me, is to just put some trim area around there and just kill the grass between the area of the rock and the trim board. So that's an option too. So it's something to be cognizant of. If you go with the Greensmaster, you're not going to be able to get right up along edges of obstacles like you can with a Tru Cut. So that's one area that you want to be considerate of. Let me also take you guys and show you guys the stripes from this angle. The sun's not in the best spot for showing off stripes today, but you can see the definition of the stripes created by the Greensmaster and the definition of the stripe created by the Tru Cut. Again, both mowers cut fairly well. The height of cut is set to the same on both mowers, but because you have that drum, that rear drum, it really lays the grass down better in this one than that one. So in one pass, it doesn't necessarily show up as much, but when you cut the entire lawn with that thing, it makes a huge difference. And again, if you guys want to see how the Greensmaster works, take a look at the card that's going to have a link to the review of the Greensmaster, where it's going to highlight the stripes that this mower can lay down on the entire lawn. So let me take you guys to another area of limitation for the Greensmaster. So this area between Alex's lawn and my lawn, the swale area here, the Greensmaster literally will not work in here. Like, I literally cannot mow in the lower part of this valley to the fence. It's just simply too wide. Remember, the Greensmaster has a 26-inch wide cut, but the actual track of the mower is much wider than 26 inches. I haven't actually measured it, but it's quite a bit wider than the Tru Cut is. And one of the negatives of that is you're not going to be able to get down into these kinds of spaces. So literally, this area is unmowable with the Greensmaster. As well as in here, I have to kind of approach this very carefully because the mower sits so much lower. When it comes to mowing the swale, I really either need to come in and out like this, because mowing along that contour is much more challenging with the Greensmaster than it is with the Tru Cut. So those are things to think about, guys. And those are not small decisions, but this entire area here that you're seeing along the fence would not be mowable with the Greensmaster. Another area of consideration is when it comes to mowing along edges of sidewalks where you have an incline. So again, I've only mowed this with the Greensmaster. I made the sacrifice for you guys. And if you look here, you notice how the turf is cut on the main lawn, but if you look right along the sidewalk there, you see how there the grass is a little bit higher and obviously the darker color because this hasn't been cut. That shows you like how close I can get to the sidewalk using the Greensmaster mower, because those axles stick out, and just also because of the way the mower rides so much lower, not necessarily even from the axles, like there's little gearboxes that sit on the side of each side of the mower, like that will touch the sidewalk and really limits how close I can get to the edge there. So, and other small areas, like if we're mowing around here by the mailbox, like let me show you guys that. Like any of these areas, like in here, like with the Tru Cut, I can actually ease that guy right up there and get those kinds of areas cut. That's a little more challenging due to the way the control system works on the Greensmaster. So those are the main areas that I wanted to show you guys on the lawn as far as limitations or challenges when it comes to mowing. The Greensmaster actually works pretty well on this slope. It's not quite as easy to mow slopes with it as it is the Tru Cut because of traction, but it does a fine job on the incline. So if if you have an incline on your lawn, again, my grade is not super steep, but it's probably more than most. Just know that the Greensmaster will work just fine on a lawn like that. So let's get back to the mowers. We'll talk about cost and we'll close this out. Okay, YouTube, so now let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is cost. When it comes to these mowers, there is quite a difference in price. A Tru Cut brand new with the roller option is going to set you back around $2,500. In the used market, you can pick these up for between $600 to $1,000 in really good shape. So really figure the price of admission for one of these mowers is somewhere between $600 and $1,000 to get you a really, really good cutting machine that's been taken care of. For the Greensmaster, depending on options, these mowers are anywhere between $11,000 to $12,500. So they're very, very expensive. They're incredibly expensive machines, brand new. In the used market, you can pick these up anywhere between $2,000 up to $4,000 or higher, depending on the age of the model, how many hours. This model had 192 hours or so when I got it. And again, the price I got it for was actually really, really reasonable considering what considering what these mowers cost brand new. So really, when you're comparing these, in many ways, you're comparing apples and oranges. I mean, they can both get the job done, as you guys saw by the cutting action. They both do a decent job cutting. The Greensmaster arguably does a much better job cutting, but it also costs 3 times the price, so 3 or 4 times the price. So really, it should cut better. As far as which one to go with, it really depends on you. It really depends on your lawn. If you have a lot of open space and your budget permits it, you are going to get a better cut with the Greensmaster. It is a better cutting mower. It stripes better. It's just overall a higher quality machine, as the price reflects. If you can only have one, again, even for my lawn, if I can only have one mower, it's really gonna have to be the Tru Cut, because really this is the only mower that allows me to cut all areas of my lawn. Like I can't cut the area between Alex's lawn and my lawn with the Greensmaster. I can't address like areas like around the vanity strip near the mailbox. That's hard to get to with this mower. So if I can only have one, it's probably gonna be the Tru Cut. If you can swing it and have both of them, that's awesome. Or if you don't really care about like those small areas, or you have another means to cut that. So if you have like a string trimmer, or your areas that need to be cut with a mower aren't quite as large as mine, then perhaps the Greensmaster is the one for you. My point, I guess, in saying this is that which one is the best one for you really depends on your particular situation. Know that by far, when it comes to creating a golf course lawn, the most important thing is getting the right equipment and cutting the grass regularly at the right heights. And either of these mowers is going to do a great job of that. So it just depends on your budget and which one you like more. I think I'm happy with both of them. And really, to be completely honest, if I can only have one, it would be the Tru Cut, because it just does everything that I need it to do. This just does a much better job of the things that it does a much better job of. So I'll leave you with that. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this useful. I wanted to show you guys a good comparison of both mowers, show you a little bit of cutting between them, the results they produce, and then just have an honest discussion about the pros and the cons. I mean, there is no free lunch. There's no perfect mower. It's just depending on your situation, your budget, and what's really important to you. Guys, if you're not yet a subscriber, I really ask you guys to subscribe. I really enjoy making this content that I hope is helpful to the community, to help you improve your lawn, to get that golf course lawn look that you're after. So if you're not yet a subscriber, consider subscribing. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you guys are using something different as far as like mowers, if you're using like a John Deere or California Trimmer or any of the other brands of mowers, which one are you using, and let me know why you chose that one. And also let me know if it's the only reel mower you've ever had. What I found is that most people will start out with like a, they'll start with rotary and then maybe move into a manual push reel mower, and then then they'll move on to one of these types of machines. So which one did you end up with? What's the path like? What was your progression path as far as mowers? I'm really interested in hearing about that from you guys. Again, thank you so much for watching. If there's anything I can do, definitely drop me a line in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Have an amazing day.